Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding this video or any other videos that I have posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please feel free to write to me, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Recently, my friend Jerry told me that his son loved a chicken dish, and he called it mu ku kai pan. Now, mu ku kai pan is a dish which from a Cantonese origin. In fact, the pronunciation is based on a Cantonese. Now, if I say it in Cantonese properly, it will sound something like this: mo gu gai pian. Now, mo gu means mushroom, gai pian means chicken slices. When he mentioned this dish, it brings back a lot of memory because during the year between undergraduate and graduate school, I worked in a Chinese restaurant in Wisconsin for about 6 weeks. And during the time, several dishes was very popular. One of them was egg foo young, and the other one is this mushroom dish. Now, the reason that it was very popular because this dish is cooked with a gravy, and it's a mushroom gravy over chicken. And children particularly like it. As my cousin Marge told me that anything you make with gravy, it will go with children. The reason is simple, because the gravy can go over rice or with noodles or even with potatoes. It just makes everything taste good. So children love that type of texture. So if you are cooking for children and you would like to have a dish that you think that they might enjoy, this might be one of them that you can put into your repertoire. This dish is very simple, and basically it has two basic ingredients: chicken and mushroom. And of course you can add other ingredients to it as you see fit, depending on what is available to you. Now, the first and foremost is chicken. Now, I have talked about how to do advanced prepping for chicken, so you can have chicken anytime you want. An advantage of advanced prepping of chicken is that you will cut the chicken into the size for stir frying as soon as you bring the chicken back from the supermarket, and then you package them into the size that you want. And the approach I do is that I package them into a thin layer. I usually put it into a Ziploc sandwich bag. I include about 8 ounces of chicken. And the way how I package it is that now when you're ready to use your chicken, you can grab it out from the freezer and you put it in a bowl of lukewarm water, and it will thaw out in about 7 to 10 minutes. And this will allow you to have chicken anytime you want. And if you prep your chicken once, maybe even a month, with 5 pounds of chicken, you're going to get 10 different servings. And if you eat 2 twice a week, this will be sufficient for you for 5 weeks. So the amount of time that you spend in prepping the chicken will bring great benefits for you to be able to cook on a regular basis. One of the simplest ways to improve the flavor of chicken is to coat them with cornstarch. I usually use about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with 8 ounces of chicken. The coating of cornstarch has some really important significance. One is that by coating the chicken with cornstarch, you protect them from the heat so that the chicken will stay moist and tender inside. After you coat them, you can cook them in 2 different ways. You can either stir fry them right away, or you can do a method known as shallow frying. The other main ingredients that I need is some mushroom, and I'm going to use some portobello mushroom, which is always in my advanced prepping because I can use mushroom in many different capacities. I always cut them up into thin slices and store them in plastic container, and I use whatever I want to cook a particular dish. Any other ingredients that you want to add to this dish, I would call it secondary ingredients. For example, I'm going to use some pepper. I have 3 kinds of pepper that was given to me by my neighbor from his garden: a regular pepper, poblano pepper, and jalapeno. Another ingredients that I need is to make the sauce. I'm going to create a cornstarch water suspension, which I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch with 8 tablespoons of water. I'm going to cook this dish in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. I'm going to heat up the wok to the point. When I add oil to the wok, you can see the oil start to form tiny bubbles, which means that the wok is hot enough. And usually the oil will start to smoke in about 10 to 15 seconds. But for cooking this dish, I'm not going to do the spot seasoning of my wok because I have just cooked some egg dish previously. So I add the chicken right away into the wok. For this dish, I do not want to create a crispy texture on the surface of the chicken because I wanted the chicken to maintain that natural softness, which actually works much better with the gravy in the dish. So immediately I use a wok spatula and I start to stir fry the chicken. And this is probably the quickest way to stir fry chicken. It usually takes only about 60 to 90 seconds. And next I add the bell pepper and the poblano pepper to the chicken. I stir fry everything together for another 20 seconds. And this is done. I'm going to remove the chicken and set them aside. And now I'm ready to prepare the gravy. By cooking the chicken and the gravy separately, it gives me much better control of the doneness of the chicken. If I create the gravy right in the wok right now with the chicken, I will run the risk of overcooking the chicken. I put the wok back onto the burner and I set the burner to low. It is important to keep the temperature low. During the process making the gravy, you don't want it to be too hot. Next, I add the cornstarch water suspension directly to the wok. You notice that initially it looks very thick and it starts to gel almost instantly. But you don't have to worry because making gravy with cornstarch is very forgiving. If the gravy is too thick, you can add more water to make it thinner. And if it's too thick, then you can add more cornstarch water suspension to make it thicker. I usually have a water kettle right next to me so I can add water very efficiently, and I will constantly using the wok spatula to stir the content to make adjustment to the right consistency that I want. I then add the portobello mushroom to the wok. I use approximately about 2 cups of portobello mushroom. You can use more or less as you would like. It is important to add the portobello mushroom later during the process because it will allow you to maintain the texture of the portobello mushroom, and that will provide you a better culinary experience. After mixing the mushroom together with the gravy for about 20 to 30 seconds, I'm ready to season the dish. I'm going to use about 1 to 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, as well as about 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. In here, I use a hot sesame oil, but you can use a regular sesame oil. I also add 1½ teaspoon of soy sauce and I mix the content well. I transfer the gravy to a serving plate, but make sure that you have a serving plate that is deep enough to hold the gravy that you are making. And next, I add the cooked chicken over the gravy. You probably noticed that how to make this gravy is very similar how you make the gravy for egg foo young as well as for shrimp with lobster sauce. The only difference is that how you season the gravy. The overall process is very much the same, so you can consider that this is a template for making gravy. In fact, this will be the same template that you can use for making gravy for Thanksgiving. Over the years, I was always tasked to make gravy because I make a good gravy. It's both fast and as well as with no lumps. And next, I combine the chicken that I cooked earlier together with the gravy. As I have mentioned earlier, by cooking the chicken separately, this gives me much better control of the texture as well as the doneness of the chicken. As I have mentioned earlier, there are many different versions of this Mo Gu Gai Pan. A lot of them have gravy like the one I have here. This is more the traditional approach. But the more modern approach in many restaurants, they use very little sauce. In the future, I will do another Mo Gu Gai Pan recipe that use the method that only contain a very small amount of sauce. This dish is simple and very fast to make. If you do advanced prepping, you can have this dish on the table in less than 10 minutes. I have the link to this recipe below the video. And if you're interested, you can take a look to provide you with some guidance. This dish is practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system, and you can make home cooking as part of your daily routine. So the goal of my YouTube channel is to help you to make home cooking a viable alternative to fast and ultra-processed foods. If you're interested to learn more about this cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.